Welcome back to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We'll be coming to you live from day 2 of the Singapore Fintech Festival, where over 70,000 attendees are participating with the best and brightest in fintech. Joining me for this segment, we have Carl Wegner. He is the CEO of Project Voltron. We're going to take a look at the future of trade finance. Carl, thanks so much for joining us. And I would imagine the future of trade finance has something to do with blockchain technology.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you look at blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, it's a great use case to solve the challenges of trade finance. In trade finance, you have parties that may or may not trust each other. You have multiple parties. You have a buyer, seller, the buyer's bank, seller's bank, freight forwarder, logistics supplier, all these different players, inspection company, and they're all exchanging information, right? And now it's done mostly on paper, right? And a letter of credit, for instance, can take 80 sheets of paper, and it's not environmentally friendly, but also it's not efficient. And especially here we sit in Singapore, you have shipments that are short shipments, right? So it takes a shipment from here to Malaysia takes a day over the water, but if it's on a letter of credit, the documents could take a week or 2 weeks. So imagine if you got your package from Amazon and you get your package and then you're not allowed to open it until a week later, right? That's the challenge of managing the data to be as quick as the shipments.
Why would there be any pushback on adopting this technology? It just seems like it's a natural fit for anything that requires contracts, logistics, supply chain.
I mean, I think that the biggest challenge is blockchain is a team sport, right? You have to get enough team players to build a consortium to make it work, right? And I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and about 20 years ago, I was at another startup that was trying to automate the trade finance spectrum, and we talked about there was an APEC paperless trading initiative in 2005 that everything was going to be automated and paperless by 2007. It didn't work, right? The governments couldn't figure out how to collaborate, right? And so nowadays, you see with fintech and with communications being a lot more effective, you see governments willing to collaborate, right? You see competitors willing to collaborate. And really for blockchain, you need to get a certain scale of competitors to build scale, to make it efficient, right, to set some standards.
Well, that's what's encouraging about an event such as this, when you have the largest global players here. I mean, Google's right next to us over here. Well, what's next in 2020 for trade finance? Are we going to have to wait another 15 years for this to come to fruition, or do you think there's enough buy-in at this point?
No, absolutely. I think someone's asking me yesterday about the same question. My prediction for 2020 for trade finance is we've seen a lot of, in distributed ledger technology, blockchain technology, a lot of POCs have been built so far. They're going into production now. So I see 2020 is the year of production, where the consortiums are going to start working together, scale is going to start happening, they're going to do more and more transactions, and also, hopefully, you have enough of these platforms that are doing enough transactions, they can start talking about collaborating themselves, right? And so, again, adding more value to the ecosystem by combining different business networks can work together. For instance, different business networks they're built on Corda, can have automatic interoperability. So Project Voltron with some of the other business networks already built on Corda, already talking about how we can collaborate, right? Why reinvent the wheel? If someone already has a component, let's share that component and work together. So I think next year is going to be the year where we start really seeing scale and volume come in trade finance.
APAC seems as if it's the most receptive region to blockchain technology and other forms of digital assets. Blockchain's a technology, digital assets or something else, but is there pushback in other regions of the world and APAC might be more open to it?
I think from an R3 perspective, but we've done a lot of work with a lot of the central bankers in Asia, and you're right, I think they're more proactive and they're trying to collaborate. We're working on Project Voltron and Lion Rock, which is Thailand and HKMA in Hong Kong, right? Bank of Thailand. So we're seeing a lot of collaboration. Other countries are not necessarily pushing back, but they may not be leading, right? And I think if you talk about international trade, you need two sides. You can't do international trade with one country, right? And I think what's really going to drive international trade to be more streamlined is really the buyers and sellers, right? It's the people doing the commerce. The buyer and seller, they're going to decide what systems they want to use. And once they get on board, once they realize the benefits, they're going to ask their suppliers. Their suppliers like freight forwarders, shippers, banks, right? The banks are service providers for the corporates. And it's really, once you build that buy-in with the corporates and they see the benefit of it, they're going to drive the rest of the ecosystem.
All right, Carl, thanks so much for joining us at the
Thank
Fintech
you.
Festival. And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.